Hook. The baby's cry cut through the airplane cabin like an alarm that wouldn't shut off, sharp, desperate, and relentless. Heads turned. A few passengers sighed. One woman muttered, "Unbelievable." The single dad holding the baby felt his chest tighten, because no matter what he tried, nothing worked. The story. Jason Miller had promised himself he wouldn't cry on this flight. He was 32 years old, sitting in seat 24B of a crowded overnight flight from New York to Seattle, holding his 6-month-old son, Oliver. Jason had survived things that once felt impossible: his wife's sudden death, the silence of an empty apartment, the shock of becoming a single father overnight. He told himself he was strong. But airplanes had a way of breaking people. Oliver had been crying for nearly 40 minutes. Not the soft, fussy kind. This was full-body, red-faced, lungs-burning crying. The kind that made Jason's arms ache and his heart crack at the same time. Jason bounced him gently. He whispered. He walked up and down the narrow aisle until a flight attendant politely asked him to sit. He warmed the bottle. He checked the diaper. He sang, quietly at first, then desperately. Nothing worked. People were staring now. Some with irritation, some with pity, some with that look that said, "Why would you bring a baby on a plane?" Jason's face burned. "I'm sorry," he whispered again and again, though no one had directly complained. "I'm so sorry, buddy. I don't know what you need." Oliver screamed harder. Jason swallowed. His eyes stung. He hadn't slept more than 2 hours in days. This trip wasn't a vacation, it was a move. He'd accepted a new job in Seattle, hoping a fresh start would somehow make the grief lighter. But right now, all he felt was failure. 3 rows ahead, a woman closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Her name was Emily Carter. She was 30 years old, traveling alone, at least it looked that way. Her tray table was down, untouched coffee growing cold. She had noticed the baby crying almost immediately, but instead of annoyance, something else stirred in her chest. Recognition. Emily knew that cry. She had heard it at 3 a.m. At 5 a.m. In grocery store aisles. In waiting rooms. In moments when she felt she might disappear under the weight of it all. Emily was a single mother too. Her daughter, Lily, had been that baby once. Colicky. Sensitive. Impossible to soothe. And Emily remembered the looks, the judgment, the whispered comments, the way people assumed incompetence instead of exhaustion. She glanced back at Jason. He looked wrecked. His shoulders were slumped, his jaw clenched like he was holding himself together by sheer will. His eyes weren't angry or careless. They were terrified. Lost. Emily hesitated. "Don't get involved," a voice in her head warned. "People don't like strangers interfering with their kids." But another voice, quieter, stronger, spoke up. "What if he needs help?" Oliver's cries suddenly broke into a choking sob. Jason felt it, felt the moment when his son's body shook not just with noise, but fear. And that did it. Jason turned his face toward the window so no one would see the tears slipping down. That's when he heard a soft voice behind him. "Hey, excuse me." Jason froze. Slowly, he turned. A woman stood in the aisle. Brown hair pulled back loosely. Tired eyes, but kind. She wasn't holding a phone to record. She wasn't scowling. She was smiling, gently. "I know this might sound strange," she said, "but may I try something?" Jason blinked. What?" She gestured toward Oliver. "I'm a mom. A single one. I've been there. Sometimes babies just need different arms." The cabin went quiet. People leaned in, pretending not to listen. Jason's first instinct was embarrassment. His second was fear. The third, strongest of all, was exhaustion. He looked down at Oliver. His little face was blotchy, eyes squeezed shut, fists clenched like he was fighting the world. Jason exhaled shakily. "Okay," he said. "Yes. Please." Emily sat beside him and held out her arms. The moment Oliver was transferred, something unexpected happened. The crying didn't stop immediately, but it changed. The pitch softened. The frantic edge dulled. Emily didn't bounce. She didn't shush loudly. She simply held him close, resting his head against her shoulder, one hand gently supporting his back. She began to hum. It wasn't a song anyone recognized. Just a low, steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. She swayed slightly in her seat. Within 30 seconds, Oliver's cries faded into whimpers. Within a minute, they stopped. The cabin felt like it exhaled all at once. Oliver's breathing evened out. His fists loosened. His tiny body melted against Emily like it had been waiting for exactly this. Jason stared. He didn't speak. He couldn't. His mouth trembled. I don't understand, he whispered. I tried everything. Emily smiled softly. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes babies feel what we feel. He knows you're hurting. That was it. Jason broke. He pressed his hand over his eyes, shoulders shaking silently. No one laughed. No one complained. A woman across the aisle discreetly wiped her own eyes. I lost my wife, Jason said quietly, the words spilling out before he could stop them. 3 months ago. She never even got to meet him properly. I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. Emily's throat tightened. I know, she said. I lost my husband 2 years ago. Lily was only 4 months old. Jason looked up, stunned. Emily met his eyes. You're not failing. You're surviving. For the rest of the flight, Emily held Oliver. Jason insisted he was fine now, but she shook her head. Let him sleep. You need rest too. Jason leaned back, exhaustion finally winning. He slept for the first time in days, head tilted awkwardly, mouth slightly open, the weight on his chest easing just a little. Passengers walked past and smiled. One man whispered, "That was beautiful." Emily just nodded. She watched Oliver sleep, feeling that familiar ache, the mix of love and loss that never truly went away. Helping someone else didn't erase her pain, but it gave it meaning. When the plane began its descent, Oliver stirred. Emily gently handed him back. Jason held his son like he was made of glass. Thank you, he said. I don't even know how to thank you. Emily stood, grabbing her bag. You already did, she said. You trusted someone. They shared a look, one only people who've been broken in the same place can understand. At baggage claim, Jason spotted Emily again. Hey, he said, nervous. If you're ever in Seattle, maybe we could get coffee. You know. As parents. Not, he stopped himself, blushing. I don't want to make it weird. Emily smiled. Coffee sounds nice. They exchanged numbers. Nothing dramatic. No promises. Just a quiet beginning. Months later, Jason would tell the story differently. He wouldn't say, a woman stopped my baby from crying. He would say, on the worst day of my life, a stranger reminded me that I wasn't alone. And sometimes, when Oliver cried at night, Jason would hum a soft, wordless tune, low and steady, just like Emily had. And it worked.